Welcome to my daily review. Today is Thursday, July 24th. You're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which was up 38 points today, or 0.18%. It closed at an all-time closing high of 21,057. Yesterday was the first day that it closed above 21,000 there at 21,023. So another up day, you can see this is the 5 EMA. It's surfing the 5 to higher, prices. But I changed my market environment from green to chartreuse, which is a mix of a yellow and green. I don't want to go yellow and think, be totally cautious, be scared of the market. It's just during this earnings season, there's going to be some changes. We see some earnings, being rewarded, and some like some leaders like Netflix being sold off, which, is a little, and Spotify as well, selling off, CrowdStrike. These are, growth names that are being sold. So that's kind of why, those aren't the only ones, but yeah, just be a little cautious out there during earnings season because, that it's a good way to get hurt. Go heavy into earnings. Size will kill you. If you're heavy into earnings, you can get killed on a good report. I've seen good reports being sold. The Nasdaq closed 6% above its 50 simple moving average there, and just grinding higher. So if you don't want to deal with the an individual stock during earnings, during this season, you could just, buy an exchange traded fund, and that way you don't have to deal with it. And if the market goes higher, you're going higher with it. All right. Let me see here. I'm going to get to earnings. I'm going to do earnings first because I think, earnings are super important. I'm going to start with some of the ones from last night. Google was the main one that we heard from. Nice day today. It was up 1%. Closed near the low of the daily session there in the bottom quartile, 17% of the daily range. You could see, it opened higher and then kind of sold off into the session, but still up on the session. Las Vegas Sands reported and had a nice attempted breakout of a cup with handle pattern there. It was up 4%. Let's take a look at this on the weekly. Yeah, this is a stage one, kind of a base on base pattern here that is trying to emerge from. So definitely one to watch there. Las Vegas Sands with the 5067 standard buy point. Another one that reported last night was Tesla. And to me, Tesla's just too hard. Yeah, it sold off today, 8%. Pretty lackluster data there. And these data points are moving the stocks. You can see how much earnings matter, right? They're risk events, and we're seeing big moves, like we saw with GEV yesterday. This is a nice 14% move yesterday, and it pulled back, get back less than 1%. So 14 to 1 ratio, will take that all day long. But I digress. URI is one that reported last night and had a nice day today, up 9%. Service now, another one. This one also closed in the bottom quartile, yeah, 21% of the daily range. So if you take a look at a 5-minute chart, you can see it gapped up at the open and kind of sold off. There was profit taking. There's sellers out there, right? I mean, there's sellers. You want to know about sellers? IBM knows all about it. Down nearly 8% after a pretty decent earnings report here, accelerating sales and earnings growth, but it didn't matter. There's something about the Red Hat numbers in the software. IBM is converted. I think of IBM, I think of these mainframes, and IBM is totally a software company now. So the software numbers, from like Red Hat, disappointed a little bit. So I think IBM will come back, kind of like Wells Fargo did after its earnings report. They had an earnings report and sold off. What is this? The 15th, yeah, sold off hard, nearly 6%, made a new high today. So it didn't take long, right? So these earnings moves, I mean, you can't overreact, unless the numbers are really bad, the story changes. But sometimes there's just profit taking, and you get really wonky moves around earnings report. This report today, accelerated earnings growth and stagnant sales growth, but this one sold off nearly 8%. It dragged down the whole cohort with it. Flex did, CLS was down on that report. Even Jabil was down nearly 5%. Sanmina sold off with that flex report, these are like 5% moves lower. And that's what you call pen action to the downside. Couple of chemical names, Dow Chemical, man, that's in a complete downtrend, down 17%. Following its earnings report, RPM going the other way. It's in a consolidating within a base, up 9% following its earnings report. That's the maker of DAP and Rust-Oleum. This is like a roofing, paint, chemical type of company. Coatings, DAP, use DAP for drywall. Anyway, a couple of airlines reported no good. American Airlines and then Southwest just got bombed down, yeah, more than 11%. Better story for the insurance stocks. GL, Globe Life had a nice move, consolidating within a base here up the top of that standard area. And then Lending Tree had a nice move, still within a stage one base, 22% move on that earnings, but it's got some work to do here for Lending Tree. All right, I think that's it. Oh no, O'Reilly hit 100 today and then pulled back out, rejected like Matambo right there at 100. We'll see if it can, bump its head up against there a couple more times. Just go sideways, allow the moving averages to catch up, just like we did with A-Lab, right? And this one still looks good to me. It had that. I mean, it hit its head up against the 100 number many, many, many times. Look at that. And then finally popped on what, Monday? And pulled back on Tuesday to the 5, got support. Today had an inside day. That still looks good to me, A-Lab. Anyway, I'm I digress. I want to get to some themes here after these earnings. And we have to start with the energy group. The energy group, one of the top, it is the top performing group, the second ranked group, but this is BE. They announced a partnership with Oracle today and it popped 23%. They report earnings next week on the 31st. I think they're probably going to mention Oracle a couple times in their conference call. They'd be stupid not to. But yeah, this one breaking out of a base, up 32% on the week. Thank you very much. We'll take that. That's a great week for Bloom Energy. Another one in this group is OKLO. I mentioned this yesterday. After the big move from the GE, it got pen action from the GE report, and it was up like 9%. Yeah, on Wednesday, and today followed through 11% move. And to me, that this is like a base. It's like a 6-week base here, 73.55. You could call it like a Darvis box too, if you will. And it's breaking out of this Darvis box. Um, and so yeah, that appeals to momentum traders, above the 73.55, up after hours. Nice day today. Yeah, Oklo looks really good. SMR is another one that broke out with the GEV and then today made a new high. Those ones look good. And then UU. This is as I segue into the mining and metals energy group. This one made a new high today, surfing on the 5. And I wanted to show MP. This one I'm going to put on my ready list tomorrow. I believe this has got this is what I call like a flagging action. Made that new high at what, 65.05. It had this heavy volume action here last week. You could see, highest volume ever. Now it's, pulling back or flagging on lighter volume, which is what you want to see. These higher lows pinching in here. So yeah, that's going to be on my ready list. You could wait until it made a high above that 65.05 from the 21st, which is what, Monday. But I would say, like today, the high was 62.05. If it's above that, you could give it a shot there. I wouldn't wait to 65.05, but a lot of people do. They want to see that new high breaking out of that flag pattern. So MP looks good. All right, I'm going to move on to the quantum computing stocks. IONQ is my favorite in this group. Cup with handle pattern had a nice little shakeout down to the moving average. It has not broken out yet. And the other one is Rigetti. This one broke out last week, and now it's just kind of flagging, kind of like the one I just showed you, MP, where it makes the high and then it pulls back and kind of just flags here on lighter volume. So it has this big volume day. That's what this is all about. This little heart. And and then it sells off or pulls back on lighter volume. So yeah, that one looks pretty good. All right, I'm gonna get to, well, crypto. We'll go to crypto. I'll start with SBET. This is yeah, kind of yeah, I don't know. This I don't want to use any derogatory terms towards it, but this is just something I wouldn't play. I shouldn't even be showing you that. This is the one that I like, Galaxy. I had this on the ready list a week early. I missed it, and then it popped, and I don't want to chase it. But this thing's probably going a lot higher from here, just based on this IPO, the weekly IPO base. Now it's ripping higher. It's got Ethereum and Bitcoin. It's a combination. It's up 17.5% this week. I think we'll take that. But there's some others in the group that I like. Riot. This one's emerging. This is a weekly chart now. It's just emerging out of this long consolidation. I just showed you, the Darvis type box here. This is just, yeah, it's breaking out. It's starting to, it's trying to. So we got to watch it. And then IREN is another one. Yeah. And this one has a distinct pattern. Since this big move, it's got these David Ryan ants and it pulls back one day and that's it. One day, then it moves up. One day, then it moves up. One day, then it moves up. And today was the day. It closed below its five. Tomorrow, I'm saying it's probably going to pop higher. That's just the pattern. All right. That's it for, no, I lied. I have one more. CIFR is another one that I like. Got to look at these weekly charts, and it looks to me like it wants to break out into a stage two, uptrend here as it breaks out of this stage one type of, box, if you will. CIFR mining. All right, that's it for the crypto names, and I have a couple of space names. After hours, ASTS, to discuss this secondary offering. It's down 9%. It just broke out. Now it pulls back to what I would call that pivot area around 54, $55 and right in here. So it broke out of that little boxy type pattern. But yeah, it's going to pull back tomorrow. And if you can get it there, I mean, I like this stock. I think it's going higher. I don't like secondaries. I don't care what they're using it for. I hate secondaries because it hurts us short term. 5405. So we'll see if it gets down there tomorrow. All right. And the other one that I like is Rocket Lab. Yeah, I mean, there's Archer and Joby, but this one I like. Once again, made this high and then formed this like flag pattern, right? It's very similar to a couple that I just showed you here. So Rocket Lab is another one that I like. All right, I'm going to move on to the travel stocks, the leisure services travel names. Royal Caribbean just surfing the five. That one looks fantastic. Carnival, it looks nice. Surfing the five. That one looks fantastic as well. I haven't checked in on Viking in a while. Yeah, that one's surfing the five. And then Avis Budget. Yeah, making new highs, man. Surfing the five. You don't have to hold that one very long to make money in Avis Budget Group. All right, that's it for the leisure. I have to mention a couple of bank names. DB, Deutsche Bank, big move today. Yeah, I mentioned Wells Fargo earlier, making a new high. And what was the other one? Oh, JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon's company making a new high as well. So the banks are strong. It hit 300 and then pulled back a little bit. Got the Matambo treatment or very close to 300. And the other one of these two that I flip-flop, BK is Bank of New York Mellon making new high today above 101, closed below it. And then the other one was instead of BK, it's KB. So if you're dyslexic, you can just kind of flip-flop the two. Uh, up 7% today. Nice move, new high. This is a South Korean bank, foreign bank. So yeah, so a lot of the banking stocks are showing strength, so that's a good sign. Also, I got to get to the build out of these data centers, these building heavy construction names. This is Quanta Services. Yeah, just surfing the five, making new highs today. Nobody talks about this one, just quietly, just grinding higher. Shh, don't tell anybody. AGX is another one that I like here. I could put this one on the ready list tomorrow with MP. I think both those probably should go on. Even though it's Friday, just put them in your mind and your watch list for next week if you don't buy them tomorrow. Whoa, this one's up $5 after hours. Could be a fat finger trade. Who knows? Uh, and then the other one is that I like is WLDN, WLDN. Yeah, this one's surfing the five, looks pretty darn good too. TPC, Tudor Perini, this one was on our relative strength list as it was surfing the five. Now it pulled back to the 21, so it's come off of it, but still, like that, like flagging action. You got earnings coming up. That's the problem with, buying a stock now. Looks good, it's in a base, and then, next, Monday or Tuesday, it's got earnings. You got to part ways with it, or you got to cut it down because you don't want a full position heading into earnings. Or you could buy small into earnings, and if it goes well, you can add. Um, I don't know. It just depends how you want to play it. It's like AMD. Um, I like AMD. I bought AMD, then I got shaken out, and it's like I'm not going to buy it back ahead of earnings. I should buy a bigger position and then get rid of some of it because I think it's going to run into earnings. And they have pretty strong earnings. You could see the accelerating sales and earnings growth. Anyway, I digress because that's not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about these home builders that pulled back the last couple of days. This is DR Horton, kind of like MP, what I showed you earlier, these high volume days, then pulling back in lighter volume here. And that one's just a tick above its five. So I could see that one tomorrow coming in and pulling back down to the five, which is what, 143.01 today. Yeah, pulls that back a buck or two. And then bouncing up above 150, or even making new highs. That would not surprise me at all. 153, 75, 154.19. Yeah. Pull back and a bounce. That's the way they do it. They shake you out, then they move higher, shake and bake. Pulte Home, same profile. These all have the same profile. High volume move, pulling back. This one actually did pull back to the five. Lennar, just a little weaker than those other two, but same profile. All right, I'm not going to go through all the home builders because they all pretty much look the same. If you don't want individual stock, exposure, you can buy the nail, which, had the same type of profile. High volume move 2 days ago, and then yesterday pulled back a little bit, and today back to the five. So pretty similar. They all trade kind of the same. Anything else here? No. I think that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, except in honor of the great Steve Jobs. I have one more thing. Intel reported tonight. Flat on this session. AMD is definitely taking market share from these guys, and PC sales just aren't what they were. And yeah, they're in a rough spot. If you take a look at yeah, since 20, yeah, this is actually if you look at the monthly since about 2020 after COVID, this thing's just been in the tank. That old bear market just ruined Intel. It has not been able to respond ever since. NEM, this is a mining name, up 3.5% after hours. I did not read the report. I'll have it in the morning. And Deckers reported tonight and had a nice report, up what, 6% after hours. They beat handily on earnings and sales. I don't know what they said about anything going forward, but that stock is running after hours. Haha. And oh, VRSN. Yeah, the cybersecurity names, yeah, down, nearly 2%. I don't know what they said on their report, but I'll have it in the morning at mcstockcharts.com. I want to thank you for watching and remind you, never give up. Have a great evening.